That's one of the great things about 2610 is that it's all inclusive for everybody in the workplace. It doesn't define these are the people that need help and these are the people that are okay. My name's Deb Guntrip and I work with TasTAFE. I'm currently engaged in several 2610 grants across the north of Tasmania with different workplaces, and I help people with literacy, numeracy, digital literacy, oral communication, those sorts of things. I also help workplaces to refine their documentation and make it easier for people to read so that it's more user-friendly. I think 2610 grants make a huge difference in the workplace because there's learning accessible to everybody in that workplace. I love the fact that everybody that's in those workplaces has already got a job, so they're driven people to start with. They just have some skills gaps that need to be fixed. Everybody can have some help at whatever level it is they need. Sometimes it's a manager that just doesn't cope well with email communication. Sometimes it's somebody that can barely read and write that would like to do a different job. So it depends on what they need, but the best part about this, the 2610 funding, is that it doesn't target people. It doesn't make people feel different just because they need some help. When I first started with doing 2610 projects and similar workplace projects, there wasn't an awful lot of computer use for the people on the ground levels. The management were using computers, but now it's becoming more and more common for even out on work sites, they're using iPads, and we're talking about a generation of people that were not brought up with computers. The whole concept of using computers is really quite scary. So a big part of my job is to take that fear away and help them to be able to communicate using those digital technologies. Reluctant learners need a little bit of coaxing usually, and every now and again you get those reluctant people that are just like, well, I'm not really sure that that's for me. And sometimes I'll say to them, well, how about we just have a couple of sessions and see how it goes, and then hopefully they realise that we can build a good relationship. Once you build the relationship, the learning part is nowhere near as difficult. But if you can't get through to that person and they're just cutting you out basically, I just say to them, look, I'm here for a whole year. The projects run for a whole year. Just, if you change your mind at any time, come and see me. My door is always open when I'm here. And that quite often they'll talk to other people then who have had success with what we're doing, and they'll come see me later on and say, is it too late? And I say, no, it's never too late. I have to say, over and above, the biggest thing that I see with people that I've worked with is the difference in confidence. And that comes just purely from having faith in these people. They don't have to have faith in me, I have to have faith in them, because it's my job to earn them having faith in me. And it's surprising, once they learn something, and I tend to try to pick something that's dear to their heart first, and then when they see some success with that, you just see from their body language and their facial expressions that, hey, I actually can learn, I can do this. And there's a lot of learners, a lot of people in life who the only real hurdle that they've got is that knowledge that they can learn. They might learn differently to other people, but they can learn. I love my work. I've been doing this work for about 15 years or so in various different ways, and I will never get sick of it. Just seeing people improve, and if I can walk out of a workplace knowing that there are some people in that workplace that know something they didn't know before, feel better about themselves, hold their head up higher, are game enough to take a step into something a little bit more challenging, I go home happy. Apply for a 2610 grant if you get the chance. There's just so much you can do with it. People have a fairly broad idea when people say, oh, I work with people on literacy and numeracy, and they think it must be sitting down at a table and practicing your times tables or spelling strategies. And yes, that forms part of it for some people, but it's a whole bigger picture than that. For me, it's about making people more engaged in life. It changes their world. It takes people from, oh, this is as good as it gets, to, well, maybe I could do something more than this. And that's magic. So if your organisation has any possibility of getting a 2610 project, run with it.